Hello everybody. Sorry I was a bit late with the stream. I was finishing a drawing, for those who didn't know. And it turned out pretty good actually. Ha ha. But yeah, so that's why I'm about half an hour to an hour late. Oh shit! There we go. Nothing's wrong at all. So I hope the audio is good. And if that's not the case, I'll probably hear so. Just setting up a few settings, and I know, I should have done this before. There we go. Set everything. There. Now, I'm going to load the last game. Alright, here we were. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back. He then turns to me, because obviously it's me who he had some business with. Sorry if I sound distracted, I need to get the audio working. And okay. Right now I feel this audio is getting very distracting. I forgot to put in my headset, that's why. Excuse me for the inconvenience. I'm going to put in the headsets now. Hope this doesn't give me any random loud noises. There we go. Okay. And it's also making sure that I can't... yeah. Experiencing noises through a headset is a bit different for me than through speakers, which is normal, but for me it's sometimes harder to focus, so I actually have to lower the audio a lot. There we go. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back. Then turns to me because obviously it's me who he had some business with. Okay. There is something I forgot to mention on Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages or even changing to another kind of medication. So we'll do a few tests regularly, but what I'd want for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything. And come see me if something happens. Alright. So how are you? Everything fine? Just go away. I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too. Teachers and students here, my parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and faculty seem to be very tightly knit. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor the pool, so I'd like to know if you have taken up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? Not as such, I just happen to know a few people, but that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually just doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. I pick up and lift the can up and down a few times like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, then comes back like it was never gone. Tetsuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder without waiting for Rin's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. Oh, damn, serious face. I understand that you are still on your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Yes, I promise, definitely. He studies me for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again. They better make me actually choose more so I can actually indeed do what he says. 'Cause I think a heart patient should, make sure, never mind. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation? See you around. Oh, you can't just say something like that and then run off. Come on. He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Rin, who has been waiting, idly leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Not by the ceiling, in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Were you listening? I think it's kinda hard for her not to listen if she just was pushed aside by the doctor. You can't exactly blame her for hearing anything. I mean, she can't exactly put her fingers in her ears and not listen. It comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out on her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know how. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality too, talking about that kind of thing in public. Yeah, if you don't want to talk about it or whatever, you shouldn't have other people kinda telling others about what you have and such, yeah. Anyways. But it's not Rin's fault, is it? I look up at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. Sigh. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like there is some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're for my heart. Will they make you better? No, not really. They'll just make it a little less worse. Rin keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything further nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all of this. At the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building and Rin leads us onwards towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. This is the small patch of green. I just see stairs in the wall, and if that's the green in the trees, the previous picture of the school was a better. Anyways, let's continue. The dorm is built on a slightly elevated ground with a wall and a few trees. Oh, okay. That everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the grey plastery that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See, the left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. You didn't meditate, did you? You just fell asleep. There. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. It's easier to paint big areas if there are a lot of people with hands. The reach is better and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent of a tangent, waving a little with her arm, or whatever of it there actually is, to demonstrate even though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around, and it makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place, like almost every tangible reminder of the student basis. Special properties has in the past few days. What? That was confusing. This girl doesn't notice my dreary feelings, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. Oh, I'm spaced out, sorry. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there is something I need to figure out, and then figure that out before it's too late and all hope is lost. Why would all hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted and then it has to dry and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. It takes time. Okay. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of a statement that makes sense. It makes sense. It does make sense. I think it's best to start from the top. What? No, you don't do that. Whatever. I don't care. So this is your project. You did this? Yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I walked straight into a minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. She smiles a bit, so I think she knows what you want to say, ask. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels that I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. Anyway, I don't think it is. But maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was using her feet to eat, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Yeah, there are a couple of people I've seen documentaries about. Apparently they can do everything with their feet, and they kinda have to if they don't have their arms, so I guess it's a nice substitute. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat, you know, flat. Like some people are. No substance, no meat where there should be some. I know a few girls who, okay, I get it. But I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name any artists or artistic terms. So I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugs her shoulders at that, saying, suit yourself, without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. Yeah, you don't have to be an artist or artistic to give criticism. Like, it would help if you knew some artistic terms, but you don't have to. Like, you have different words. You have loads of words to describe what you like about a piece and whatnot. Anyways, let's continue. Oh. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I could do a little before it's too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Rinchu is quick to recruit help, as was Setsune. It really makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Ha, pair of hands. I see what you did there, Hisao. Why not? I'm not really sure if I can be of any help, though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that. Probably. Do you have motor control problems like, you know, there's people who have some? Cerebral palsy, maybe? Cerebral palsy? Not that I know of. I get it. Heart thingy has nothing to do with that. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do this then. Or let's do it then. She sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work, every now and then asking me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last millimeter before she's satisfied. Milliliter. Sorry, not millimeter. Milliliter. Right, because of paint, I see. Before she's satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Add half a splash of green. I crouch down to pick up the can of bright green. The other green. This green. I carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? No idea, you're the artist here. A hint of smile appears in the corners of her mouth. Do you lack an opinion? No, it's just that I have no idea. It's okay because I got an idea. I just got an idea. Add more white. With this exclamation, I pour a minuscule amount of white onto the bowl and mix it. It looks slightly whiter. That's not good. It has to be like the color when you wake up and you know that you saw the meaning of life in your dream but can't remember it. Maybe it's yellow. Despite the impossibility of mixing a color like the change of seasons or any other nonsense that's being imposed on me, I find myself enjoying it more than I thought I would. Seeing a painting being born on the plastered wall feels like magic. I spend the moments I have between mixing paints crouching down on the paving and just looking at her work. It feels slightly intrusive at first, like breaking some imaginary intimacy, but Rin doesn't seem to mind the least bit. Maybe it's just in my head. Her entire presence emits a... What did I just hear? That something... never mind. Her entire presence emits a completely different air as she patiently works the details, adding layers of paint on top of the other layers of paint, steadily moving her foot across the wall to add new shapes. When I manage to produce a passable mixture of paint, the rare smile on her face is oddly rewarding. Apart from the few words when discussing paint mixes, neither of us says a word for the longest time. And even those short discussions soon evolve into a shorthand, both of us developing and using weird impromptu code words for various paints and hues, as if there was some need to conserve words and breathe and sound. We stay there late into the evening until it becomes too dark to paint properly. Interesting. The sound of an alarm pulls me out of a fitful slumber and into the unpleasant state of wakefulness. Oh, well, isn't this a nice place to actually pause and... yes. I'm gonna pause here. I hope you enjoyed watching Katawa Shoujo, and that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed. Right, yes. That's it. Hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.